Let's talk about the IBM business model. Perhaps the greatest contribution to the development of this model was made by the CEO of the company, Tom Watson, who led the business from 1914 to 1956 and transformed it into one of the largest corporations in the United States. To understand what made Watson's approach unique, it is necessary to look at the story of how he developed as a business leader. As Watson himself often said, he learned everything he knew about business from John Henry Patterson. The story began in 1883, when Patterson was looking for new investment opportunities. While traveling around the country, he happened to meet the owner of several retail stores. The man told him about a remarkable new invention that could not be cheated, an incorruptible cashier of sorts. It automatically generated printed reports on each store's transactions, which were then mailed to the owner. This allowed him to travel and enjoy life without worrying that his employees would take advantage of his absence by stealing from him. As you have probably guessed, he was talking about the cash register, which was a technological novelty at the time. Naturally, Patterson became interested in this remarkable invention and asked where he could buy one. He learned that the machines were manufactured by the National Manufacturing Company. Without hesitation, he traveled to the city where the company was located and almost immediately offered to buy the business. He was not even surprised when the owner quickly accepted the offer and enthusiastically praised the company in every possible way to encourage the purchase. However, Patterson soon discovered that he had not bought a promising business but a company that was barely surviving. He realized this only after taking a closer look at its operations. The situation was so bad that he could not understand how he had made such a costly mistake. Naturally, he tried to cancel the deal, but the former owner flatly refused to return the money. What shocked Patterson most was the seller's mocking remark, "I wouldn't take that company back even for free." Furious at being made a fool of, Patterson vowed to prove him wrong. The company's problems were typical of many businesses introducing new technologies. Potential customers did not yet fully understand the benefits of cash registers and viewed them with considerable skepticism. Store owners were more concerned about the high upfront cost of the device than the uncertain long-term benefits it could provide. Store employees, meanwhile, hated the machines because they saw them as a sign that their employers did not trust them, so they often did everything they could to prevent them from being installed. Patterson, however, had a different strategy. Unlike many entrepreneurs who focused primarily on improving the product itself, he believed that far more attention should be devoted to sales. In fact, he pioneered what we would now call aggressive sales techniques. He hired teams of salespeople and assigned each of them a specific territory containing a fixed number of stores. Their job was to cover every potential customer in that territory. This required constant travel, face-to-face meetings with store owners, and relentless efforts to persuade them to purchase a cash register. Patterson also invested heavily in improving the effectiveness of his sales force. The company developed comprehensive training programs that taught future salespeople how to present the product, communicate with customers, emphasize its advantages, and avoid discussing topics that might undermine the sale. He also introduced an innovative compensation system. High-performing employees received generous commissions, opportunities for promotion, and membership in the prestigious 100 Club, an elite organization reserved for the company's top salespeople. At the same time, Patterson was a highly controversial leader. He loved giving passionate speeches to inspire his employees, but he was equally known for dramatic emotional outbursts. He would shout, smash furniture, and frequently change his attitude toward people without warning. One day, you could be praised as the company's best employee. The next, you could be harshly criticized for poor performance. It was also common for Patterson to take a successful salesperson under his wing only to dismiss him for no apparent reason. That was exactly what happened to Tom Watson. Watson later said many times that NCR had been his real business school and that Patterson had been both a mentor and a father figure to him. Patterson also valued Watson highly. Perhaps the clearest sign of their close relationship was that Patterson gave Watson a house next to his own. Yet to Patterson, such gestures meant little. In the very same year that Watson moved into his new home, Patterson fired him. Although Watson never fully understood Patterson's behavior, he never spoke publicly against him. Instead, he focused on the invaluable experience he had gained, experience that he would soon use to build an entirely new business. In 1914, Watson was invited by Charles R. Flint to join the company that would later become IBM. At the time, it was known as the Computing Tabulating Recording Company, CTR. Like many business owners, Flint wanted someone capable of transforming the company through effective leadership. Then, as now, the greatest challenge for most businesses was sales. Manufacturing a product was often easier than finding customers willing to buy it. While some products practically sold themselves, others required demonstrations, explanations, and persuasive selling. Salespeople who possessed those skills were highly valued, even if the profession itself lacked prestige. Because NCR was widely regarded as one of the best training grounds for salespeople, its former employees had little trouble finding new opportunities. For Flint, Tom Watson was exactly the person he needed. Upon joining CTR, Watson immediately focused on what he did best: growing sales. At that time, the company's primary product was the tabulating machine, an electromechanical device invented by Herman Hollerith to speed up the U.S. Census. An electromechanical device invented by Herman Hollerith to speed up the U.S. Census. Although the machine revolutionized census processing, its commercial market was extremely limited. To survive, the company also manufactured and sold more practical products such as meat slicers, coffee grinders, and other commercial equipment. Nevertheless, Watson believed the future lay in tabulating machines. He wondered whether they could be improved and adapted for use by private businesses. Office workers were drowning in paperwork, and Watson believed these machines could dramatically increase their productivity if their capabilities were expanded. At the same time, Watson understood that tabulators and other calculating machines were complex products. Selling them would require an aggressive and highly organized sales effort. As a result, he adopted almost the entire sales system he had learned under Patterson. He placed sales at the center of the business, built a large sales force that traveled from company to company, demonstrating the machines, trained them using rigorous methods, rewarded top performers generously, and even created a 100 club similar to the one at NCR. Ironically, Watson himself was often criticized for not being technically knowledgeable. Unlike the engineers who designed the machines, he understood very little about their technical details. In many cases, he barely knew how to operate the products his own company manufactured. But that was not what made him successful. Watson understood something even more important. He knew who his customers were, what problems they faced, and how his company's machines could solve those problems. He then used his extraordinary ability to persuade people to buy them. His salespeople followed the same philosophy. They were not engineers, they were sales professionals, and that proved to be just as important to the company's success. It was this relentless focus on sales that ultimately made IBM the leader of its industry and one of the largest corporations in the United States.